Hi, I'm David Gale, and this is ACTRA Toronto at home. Voiceover performer Meghan Hoople and her husband Christopher Mayo have been running errands for their neighbors since the beginning of social distancing. Now, that's a lot of volunteering, and that's a lot of good news. So let's check in with ACTRA member Meghan Hoople at home. Hello.
Hello.
So nice to meet you on the video.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Now, how are you doing in this craziness?
I'm okay. I have good days and better days, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of anxiety at the beginning, but I've settled a bit. Yeah, it's, touch and go.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah.
you're a voiceover performer. So have you been working from home? Can you do that?
Well, that was one of the first projects that I kind of just gunned for, is setting up a little booth in a closet with some soundproofing, and I upgraded my microphone, and I've had a little bit of work, which has been great. I'm hoping for more because I have no idea how long this is going to go on for.
Right.
But it was a good project to get my mind focused on something positive, and I'm glad I did it.
Was it animation? Was it can you
It's
share?
mostly what I work with is a commercial. I do a lot of commercial voiceover. I would love to break into animation. This has been a really good opportunity to practice and kind of hone more or different skills. So that's been a positive.
Can you give us a little teaser of the type of commercials you do?
Oh, well, I did an ad for VW, so it's all like, we really care and we're looking forward to having you back, kind of stuff.
You sounded very sincere, so that's perfect.
Well, yeah, that's what I do. Sincere.
So, you work with your husband, Christopher?
Yes.
In this volunteering that you're doing. What
Yes.
kind of challenges does that present when you're actually working with your husband?
Well, to be honest with you, the volunteering that we're doing, it poses no obstacles. He was a supply teacher for the Toronto District School Board, and he really likes to be active and working and of service, and as do I. And so it gives us something to do, get out of the house and go for a ride, which we love, and then help somebody. So it breaks up.
Win-win-win.
Yeah, it's a win. Honestly, it's a win-win-win. We've been together for a long time, about 14 years. So we, in general, get along really well, especially when we're doing something that we both really enjoy or are passionate about.
And how did you come up with this idea of volunteering in your neighborhood?
Well, I'm sure you saw some of these posts when this all kind of first started and people abruptly lost their jobs. They would post on social media, hey, I'm in the Bloor West Village area. If anybody needs any help, I'm available. And we thought that was really nice. I saw quite a few of my friends post that, and that's wonderful. And then Christopher just thought, well, what if people don't have access to the internet or social media? We had recently moved to Euclid Avenue in December, actually, so we're very new to the neighborhood.
The annex?
Yeah, to Euclid. We're right on Euclid, right at College in Euclid. So there's a lot of older people here. There's a lot of Portuguese and Italian speakers here. So he thought, well, what if we just flyered the neighborhood? So we printed off 300 flyers and we started 300 mailboxes. And then we thought, well, let's do 300 more. So we did 600 mailboxes total. So that took us from Bloor all the way down to Queen. And we flyered everybody that we could. And we did one side in English and one side in Portuguese so that we could cover our bases.
And do either of you speak Portuguese?
No, my husband has an Italian background, but most of the neighbors that we've run into seem to be Portuguese or Italian. So we're actually thinking about, we're going to do, the network's called the Euclid Avenue Neighborhood Network. And I think we're going to do another flyering and just check in, because I don't know that people still know that we're offering the service, or if they're being shy about asking.
So you flyered in like late March?
Yeah, I would say late March.
And how long did it take before you were getting responses?
That evening.
That evening.
We had responses of responses of this is so wonderful. Thank you so much. Many people have lived on Euclid Avenue for years and years, and it used to be a very tight-knit community. I'm sure in some pockets it is, but sometimes, then when you have a lot of turnover and people moving in and moving out, then you kind of lose that sense of some of the neighborhoodliness. But we had lots of response of people that want to help. I have a database of probably 50 or 60 households that have said, we have a car, we have this, we can, if you get inundated, we can help you.
And have you used that? Have you used your neighbors to do some of it?
We haven't had the need, really. We have helped quite a few neighbors, but it's been probably on average about 3 a week that we'll do runs for, like prescriptions or a grocery run. We were busiest right when people were all returning from March break, when they all had to self-quarantine or self-isolate.
Right.
So that was really busy. But yeah, no, it's.
Are you still 3 a week now?
Yeah, roughly about that. Some weeks are slow, and then other weeks we'll have a couple of runs. But generally, it was busier before, so I just wanted to let people know that we're still available to them if they do need it. I mean, we're able-bodied and we're not doing really much else.
Well, we can post that information if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So what's probably the most unusual errand that you've been asked to run?
Well, there was this older gentleman that lives closer to Dundas, and he called me one day and he asked me for 2 ham sandwiches. And I said, okay, sure. I said, where would you like me to buy these from? Would you like anything else? And he said, it's broken English. He's Portuguese. And he said, oh, it doesn't matter what you put on it. Just 2 ham sandwiches. And so I told my husband, I said, Christopher, this guy's asking for 2 sandwiches. I think I'll just make them for him and I'll bring them down. And we didn't know what his situation was. So we packed a little care package for him, like some pasta sauce and some pasta. And we dropped it off at his door.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then a couple days later, we got a call and he had asked for some Portuguese style tinned fish. So I went and got a bunch of sardines. They love sardines in Portugal. So I went and got that for him. And he would call about once a week. He asked for a couple more sandwiches, and I was confused because generally, like, we don't charge for a service, but we leave a receipt and then people will usually send an e-transfer.
Right.
So we hadn't received any payment from him, but it was fine. I mean, we didn't want him to be hungry. So eventually it came to light that I ran into his daughter on one of my drops, and she was really flabbergasted and confused. And I guess this older gentleman had thought that we were part of the city and that we were like, I don't know.
So anyway, meal service.
Yeah, like a meal service. So it was a big misunderstanding, but it was fine. I mean, really, that is what it's for. We didn't want people to be hungry or lonely or whatever. So good old Jimmy.
Jimmy with the tin fish.
Yeah, with the tin fish. So that was the most bizarre one. Otherwise, it's all been like prescriptions. There's many older people, but there's also lots of people that have support systems, it's looking like, which is great. Right. So we've been more of a fill-in when there's other people can't help them. So
now what does neighborhood mean to you now?
Well, I grew up in a neighborhood. I'm from Edmonton originally, and we lived on a little cul-de-sac. Yeah, Weston. So I lived on a cul-de-sac, and we had lemonade stands and barbecues and, really tight-knit community of block parties. And, if you fell and scraped your knee, you could knock on anybody's door. Mm-hmm. And, your parents knew everybody. Christopher also grew up in Windsor. And so we're pretty far away from home, and we're far away from our families as it is now because of the pandemic. And so neighborhood to me is just reaching out and saying, hey, you're a person, I'm a person, we live close together. If you need anything, let me know. And we used to live at Yonge and Bloor, and we didn't live on a house-lined street. It was very downtown urban. And we lived in that apartment for 10 years, and I think we only ever really knew 10 people that lived there. That was it. So this has been a way of saying, we're in a neighborhood. Let's make ourselves part of the neighborhood.
So when you travel around the neighborhood, do people go, "Oh, you're the people with the errands"? And
Sometimes, but for the most part, not really. We're not too famous.
Not too famous. All right. You want to keep a little bit, you know,
Yeah,
on the
the
down low
mystery.
there.
Yeah,
Keep the
that's
mystery
right.
going. That's good.
Yeah.
And all cool with your husband. That's a good thing that you get to work together.
Oh
And
yeah.
I guess if you were doing it all the time, if you had to make sandwiches for the entire neighborhood, it might be a little challenging. But so far, it's
I
just
suppose so.
uh,
Well, when
how
Christopher and I first met, we've toured children's entertainment for a long time. So we've toured malls and we've done lots of nitty gritty work together. We worked together for 10 years, I would say.
what
So,
did he do? You said
well,
he's a supply teacher.
he was an actor for a long time, and we did a lot of children's entertainment together. We've done costume character work like all across Canada together. So we have a lot of history of working together.
Okay, what is the kookiest character that you've done on tour for those 10 years?
Oh man, all of them. I mean, we worked with a company that worked with Treehouse and Nickelodeon. So I've done SpongeBob, Tupi and Binu. I used to do Lunette the Clown. Christopher was Barney. We toured with Thomas the Tank Engine. All the big names. Yeah,
Thomas
lots of
must have
fun.
been, people must have gone just crazy for
I go
Thomas, the
crazy
little
for
kids.
all of it. Yeah, Fifi and the Flower Pots. There's tons of them, tons of them.
And you have to sound like the character when you're embodying the costume?
When no, when you're in costume, it was track, and
Oh,
so
right.
it was more puppetry. But
It was
there were
on stage, right?
yeah.
It was not mingling with the crowd.
Oh no, you do both. You do meet and greets. I've hugged hundreds of thousands of children across Canada.
Which, when you think about it, doesn't really happen much anymore at
No, I
all.
know. Nope. It I got out at the height, I would say.
So what has doing this volunteer work for your neighborhood meant to you personally?
It feels really good to be helpful and to, potentially put a smile on someone's face, or to let them know that they're not alone. And in turn, it lets me know that I'm not alone too. I think as artists, many of us feel a call to action or activated when there's a crisis.
Mhm.
Like, we're such an interesting bunch of people with so many different skills, because you have to be adaptable and in this industry. So I think that it's inside of me. And Christopher for a long time was, I mean, you're never not an artist once you've started. So it's just been good and positive, just something that feels good.
This is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for good news stories where
Yeah.
there have been so many difficult stories of, all this whole virus and pandemic has caused so much suffering and pain. So to hear that you're delivering, literally delivering the good news is a great thing to have. Would you ever consider dressing up as Spongebob to actually deliver the stuff for the errands?
I'm a yes person. I don't say no to much. So yeah, I would.
Well, it's very sweet of you to say that and go with me on that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Now, how long do you think you can continue on with this?
I can continue on until it goes back to a new normal. I mean, my side job was in a restaurant, so I don't see myself. I actually work in the TIFF building, so I work in a movie theater, in a restaurant that depends on Mervish subscribers and opera goers, and so I feel like the whatever tier that will be in is quite far away. So I'm happy to do this for as long as it takes. It really is no bother to me, and when I do write the neighborhood check-in, I'm going to reiterate that, because I think people really think that they're being a bother, and it's really not.
Oh, it's the opposite of a bother. It's like
Yeah.
so generous of you, and you. As I repeat, you are delivering the good news. So thank you so much for what you do, Meghan,
Thank
and
you.
continue doing it. And we look forward to someday checking back in with you to see how it's going.
Yeah, please, I'd be happy to. And I'm very happy to speak with you, and I'm grateful for all the people at ACTRA that are still working on our behalf so hard to make sure that we can come through the other side of this.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, nice to speak with you, David.
And you too. If you know of a member who is going out of their way to help out, let us know. We may be able to share their stories right here on ACTRA Toronto at home. Stay safe.